Shazam! Oh, I mean, come on, you guys were expecting that, weren't you? So on March the 27th, I got a chance to see Shazam early, and I really enjoyed Shazam. I think it was a very good and fun film. And I think one of the reasons why I really liked it was just because it just felt so faithful to the comics. Now, quick side note before I get into the review, I just want to quickly talk about Shazam as a character, because before the film, I knew of Shazam and I liked certain aspects of him, but most of my knowledge came from, you know, the cartoons like Justice League and his appearances in Young Justice, and he is very funny in Young Justice. But it's like, as a character, I didn't know that much. I mean, I knew he was like a little boy who like said Shazam and got empowered with like the gods' like powers. I mean, I've forgotten what the acronym stands for, but like, yeah, that's pretty much what I knew for the most part. But in preparation for the film, I decided to get this, which is Shazam Volume 1, the New 52 Shazam, by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank, and I really enjoyed this book. This is one of like probably the most solid like superhero stories I've read in like a good long while, because I mean, I stopped reading modern comics because they kind of bore me and like there's no sense of like urgency or continuity or anything. It's just But anyways, I really enjoyed that story by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank, and the fact that this movie is basically 65-70% of that movie, I mean, the 30% is just creative license, but the fact that it basically adapts that story, it just made me really happy. I mean, everything from the set design to the costume design to the casting, it all just felt like that comic. And props given to the director, David S. Sandberg, who did a good job with this movie. Everything felt good, you know, it felt accurate to the comics, everything felt just right. Now, Zachary Levi plays Shazam, and honestly, he killed it. Playing a boy trapped in a man's body, he just absolutely nailed it. I mean, maybe it's the fact that, like, as like a person in interviews that I've seen, Zachary Levi just seems like such, like, this very excitable guy, and I think that's just genius casting on DC's behalf. I mean, he can be a little bit hammy at points, but, I mean, it fits the tone of the film. It doesn't, like, completely, like, ruin the movie or anything. I mean, honestly, like, the one gripe I have with him as Shazam is the costume. It's not even his fault. Like, the costume is good. Like, it's got nice detail on it. I like that the symbol glows, but something about it just doesn't look professional, if that makes sense. I mean, especially when you compare it to the other DC movie suits, especially Superman's suit. If we got a mixture of the Superman suit and Shazam suit in this movie, I think it'd be perfect. You know, I'd like a bit more like, a bit more armor, you know, maybe like a metallic undersuit like what Henry Cavill wears. I think it would look perfect. But regardless of that, if the one thing I didn't like about Zachary Levi Shazam was the costume, then that's pretty much saying a lot about his performance. Now, Asher Angel plays young Billy Batson, the boy that turns into Shazam, and he's good. I really enjoyed him, but it did take me a while for me to actually warm up to him. I don't know if it was a scripting issue or if I was just too close to the Billy Batson from the New 52 comic, but it did just take a little bit of time for me to just go, oh yeah, I like this kid. Because I mean, in that comic, I really love Billy from like page 1. I mean, the opening scene is him with his social worker and the Vasquez, and like he's just talking to the Vasquez just like, oh, Mr. and Mrs. Vasquez, I'm a nice boy, I like reading, I like learning, I just want to like be free. And they're just like, oh, he's wonderful, we'll take him. And like they leave the room and they like do all the paperwork, and then like Billy just like smiles at his social worker just like, what a bunch of idiots. Like immediately I was like, this guy is hilarious. And like Billy and his social worker have like a really good like back and forth where she's just like, listen here, Billy, you little, like you better like be good for the Vasquez because no one else will take you, alright? Like, this is your last chance. I don't know, something about it just, I feel like if they did that in the movie, it would have worked a little bit better, because I think in the movie they played it a little bit too safe, if that makes sense. Like, at the beginning you have, like, Billy, like, prank calling the police officer and, like, stealing the guy's lunch, and, like, that's kind of cool, because it sort of feeds into his, like, overall arc of, like, him trying to find his real birth mother. But, I don't know, I think compared to the New 52 comics, the way we first meet Billy wasn't as good. But as the movie progresses and we see Billy, like, learn to, like, love the Vasquez and the children as, like, a family and stuff, really liked it. And I particularly enjoyed the arc with his mother. That was really good, and I really loved the twist. I mean, the twist is sort of predictable, but, like, the way they executed it, I really loved it. Because we get flashbacks to, like, young Billy and his mother, and, like, they're at the fair, and he's just like, Mom, get me the tiger, and the mom's just like, oh, no, sweetie, I can't do it. Like, I'm having a rough day. And then, like, she loses him, and, like, it's all, like, sort of sad, you know? But then we see that scene again from the mother's perspective, and the way they did it stylistically was great, because the way Billy views that scene, it's all, like, warm, it's all, like, nurturing, it's all loving, but then in reality, it's cold, it's harsh, the mother is actually stressed out. I think, filmmaking-wise, that was just genius. Although I will say, no way was his mother 17 in that flashbacks. It just, that was a bit ridiculous. Oh, and another thing that I really liked was like the constant referencing of tigers, because like Billy's got like a tiger backpack and like there's just like toy tigers everywhere. And I think that's a really cool nod to the New 52, because in the New 52, Billy and his parents used to visit like this tiger at the zoo, and then like the tiger becomes sort of important throughout the rest of the story. And I just thought that was a really nice reference. Now, I love the actor who played Freddy. His comedic timing was excellent, and overall he was just a really fun character. Yeah, I'm gonna use the word fun a lot, because this movie is basically the definition of fun. I think he and Ash the Angel have very good chemistry. I mean, like, the one issue I have with that little arc is like when Billy becomes Shazam and like gets all popular and stuff, and Freddy starts enjoying it, like that little like conflict that they have, like that makes them sort of fall out, feels just a bit forced or rushed. I'm not really sure. I think it just felt a bit inorganic, because it's like 1 minute they're all having fun, and then in the next scene Billy's just like, what the hell, man, this is my thing, like you're just like taking all the credit. Like it just felt a little forced. Now, in the comics, Billy gets adopted by the Vasquez, who basically runs like their own little foster family, and this movie did such a fantastic job at translating that to the big screen. The Vasquez were well cast, especially the father. I forgot what his name was in the comics, but he was amazing, and I love that actor. It's just so like warm and so kind. Like I was just like, oh, I really like this guy. And what impressed me even more was that they got kids who looked exactly like their comic counterparts, especially Darla, who literally jumped off the page. I was like, whoa, that's mad. I also like that the movie included the Shazam family, which is basically just the kids, but like they all get the powers of Shazam. And the casting for like when they turn into their Shazam versions was spot on. I got so excited when the guy who plays Zach from 13 Reasons Why was playing Eugene. I was just like, oh, it's that guy. I like that guy. That's really cool. And the others also really impressed me, especially the one who played older Darla and the one who played older Freddy. They all just felt like their characters. And you know, as a whole, the whole arc is like Billy like learning to accept the Vasquez as like his new surrogate family. And that arc works pretty well. I mean, by the end of the movie, you're quite touched. And like, there's just like this little ritual that they do like before dinner. And like, at the end when Billy does it, it's really nice. And you just go, aw, that's quite cute. Now, if I did have to point out a little bit of a weakness with the movie, that's basically the villain. He's not terrible, but he's not that great either. I mean, he's played by Mark Strong, and I love Mark Strong. He is solid in basically everything I've seen him in. And he does the best with what he's given. And whilst the movie does try to give its villain, Dr. Savannah, some sort of development, like, you get where he's coming from, but it's just not super well executed. I mean, I'd probably say he's more developed than most of your average Marvel villains, but he just doesn't seem to, like, you know, hit the high peaks of comic book movie villains. Like, he's nowhere near Michael Keaton as the Vulture, or Michael Shannon as General Zod. He's good, but not great, if that makes sense. I mean, I just think as a whole his villain lacks a bit of gravitas, especially since in the comics, his role is basically meant to be filled by Black Adam, but this movie decides to like merge the two characters together, and whilst I understand why they did that, it just wasn't as engaging. I mean, maybe I just want to see The Rock getting beaten up by Zachary Levi. I don't know. And whilst Savannah is working with the 7 deadly sins like in the comics, it's like a cool reference, but their CGI just isn't the best. I mean, again, keep in mind it's like an $80 to $90 million budget movie, but I've seen worse, I guess. Oh, and speaking of the action is okay. It's good. There are certain scenes where I was like, oh, that's really good. There's a fight scene between Shazam and Dr. Savannah in a shopping mall, and it's really fun. Like, it's really cool, like, how, like, small scale the fight felt. Like, I don't know, there's something about it that just felt a little tense for what it was. Plus, there's a reference to Big in that scene, and I love it. It's great. But then you have the final fight, which goes on for a bit too long. I mean, I know you have to showcase, like, the kids becoming the Shazam family, but, like, overall, it just felt a little bit too dragged out. I mean, I probably would have cut like 5-10 minutes of that scene. Now, this movie's got a ton of references to the DC universe. You've got Batman references, Aquaman references, Flash references, Wonder Woman references, all that good stuff. But you've also got Superman references. Not even just a reference, a Superman cameo. But, and this is a big but, the cameo is cool, but it just doesn't work in execution. So the cameo is basically Freddy sitting in the cafeteria, Billy and Shazam walks in going like, oh hey man, this is Freddy, he's like the best, the coolest, sorry I stood you up the other day, and like he sits down and has lunch with him. And then all of a sudden he's just like, oh yeah, by the way, I also brought someone else for lunch, I hope you don't mind. And then you hear the Superman theme, like you see Superman walking like through the frame, and you're like, oh cool, Superman! Except for it's not Henry Cavill in the suit. They basically shoot the scene from, like, the neck down, and it just sort of makes the whole thing feel a bit cheap. Like, I really just hope Warner Brothers sorts out this whole, like, mess they have with Henry Cavill. Like, just, Warner Brothers, pay the man the money, and make Man of Steel 2 already. Like, please. Overall, I really enjoyed Shazam. I didn't love it like I was hoping I would, but I liked it. I mean, I'll definitely go see it again. I feel like, for the most part, its main problem is that it has a couple of scripting issues, but apart from that, for an $80 to $90 million superhero film, it's really good. I mean, David S. Sandberg did such a very impressive job. I mean, like, the fact that he was, like, once upon a time making short films on YouTube, and now he's making a massive, big-budget superhero action movie, that's crazy. I mean, that gives hopes to little guys like me who, like, dreams of making it big in the film industry and, like, wants to make these kind of genre pieces. Like, it gives me hope. As for a sequel, I really hope this movie, like, makes money. I really hope it does. I want to see a sequel. I have no idea what they're going to do since the New 52 only ran for one volume because it was all meant to be, like, backstory for, like, his Justice League adventures. But whatever it is, I'm excited. I just hope that we kind of get, like, a Superman and Shazam team-up movie. I think that would just be really cool and really fitting for the characters. But, yeah, that's what I thought on Shazam. What did you guys think? Leave me a comment down below. Like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Hit the notification bell down there. My social media links are down in the description, so if you give them a look and a follow, that would be very nice. And until we meet again, I'll see you guys next time. Shazam!